Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. It's Monday, that means it's Movie Monday. Today we're going to be talking about Captain America, the First Avenger. That's right everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers, welcome to Movie Monday. We're making Mondays just a little bit better, talking and discussing movies. We've been talking about Marvel Cinematic Universe movies this year because we're building up to the Infinity War. We have Infinity War coming out in May. We got Black Panther coming out. This is a very exciting time to be a comic book movie fan. Absolutely. Today we're going to be talking about Captain America, the First Avenger, starring Chris Evans and a bunch of other people. Hugo Weaving and such. Sebastian Stan, Haley Atwell, Tommy Lee Jones as the Colonel. Fantastic performances in this movie. Directed by Joe Johnston, who did such classic hits as Jumanji, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, that Wolfman remake with Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro, which I absolutely love, and let us not forget one of his best films, The Rocketeer. Captain America the First Avenger is a very fun movie. I love it. I think it's a great film. I think every movie in Phase 1 is pretty much a good, solid film. Iron Man 2 a little bit less so. Captain America is fun. They set it completely in World War II, which I loved. Thought it was just a great direction to go. The best way to do it. Just build this character up, show him in World War II, then end it with him leading into the Avengers. I thought the timing, the placement of his movie in the whole Phase 1 was absolutely brilliant. Perfect. Chris Evans was just such a natural for this role. Everybody was really worried about him at first because he played the Human Torch. Yeah. He was in another teen movie. People didn't really see him as the type of actor who'd be able to carry this role. Well, not only could he carry the role, but bro got swole. Seriously, man, guy jacked up. Seriously. And it wasn't Super Soldier Serum that did it. This movie's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of adventure. It's got a lot of fun in it. Great, brilliant performances, like I said. I think it looks cool. I do have some issues with it, but not too many. Jelani, what do you think about this film, though?
Man, I love this film. Man, Captain America, the First Avenger, is framed well. I love that it's in World War II, like you said. I love that you needed to have this period piece of this guy, this scrawny guy that wanted to do anything to get in this war. And he's been rejected so many times. And he finally finds a way to do it. And he becomes like the greatest hero that's ever come. Yeah. And I love the pacing of it. I love how, he goes from that small spark wanting to fight. And I could do this all day. Yeah. I love how scrappy he is in the beginning. And I love, actually going back to the CG, I love the CG for this. It looks like, it's kind of off-putting at times, but it looks like he is a scrawny kid. And then they build him up to be this muscular dude. And it's flawless to me. Okay. And it works out really well. I love Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. I don't think he wants to do these anymore, so they probably won't put him anymore. But
you can get anybody to play the Red Skull now.
Yeah, pretty much.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's just a face. It's just prosthetic.
The face and a German accent.
Yeah. But he played it well. I liked him as that character. I think they could have given him a little more to do. He just felt like a mustache twirling villain.
Yes.
But
I shall get you, Captain America.
I'll get you next time, He-Man.
Yeah, and you get that. And I think they should have put Zemo in it just a little bit. You need those little villains. But like I said, he's not the strongest villain. Loki is still the best villain so far. So I like Tommy Lee Jones, like you said, as the Colonel. He's gruff. He's just, he's Tommy Lee Jones.
Great comedic relief, too.
Yeah, he does what he needs to do in this. The guy that plays Tony Stark.
Dominic Cooper. Howard Stark.
Yep, Howard Stark. He's not Tony.
Idiot.
Hey, you get it out. But
Dominic Cooper is amazing in this movie.
He is amazing in this movie. And he's what Tony would have been in that time period.
Absolutely.
That's exactly how he pulls it off. And Haley Atwell is amazing. She plays
Peggy
Carter. And she's a great love interest. I mean, it's will they, won't they, will they, won't they. And I like how it plays out. I like the ending where he's like, I missed that date.
Yeah.
And he knows you know, that he wants to be with her, and he doesn't know how to do that because he's never been around a woman long enough to talk to them. And you can see his awkwardness. And I like how their interplay goes with that. I love this film. There's so many things I can just pick out that I enjoy. I mean, he goes off and saves Bucky and saves all those people. And just when no one believed in him. I'm like, he's got super serum in him, and they're sidelining him. Yeah. They're sidelining your best weapon. And he goes in by himself because he wants to. And it's the hero's code. And it feels that way. And I love that he takes that character to that level. I want to see Captain America be a hero. And Chris Evans pulls it off perfectly.
Chris Evans personified.
He is Captain America.
The essence of Captain America.
I think he's Captain America like in regular life.
Yeah, he might be.
Normal things.
Absolutely. Captain America, of course, was created in 1941, first appearing in Captain America Comics #1, the famous cover where he punches Hitler, which they use in this movie, do an homage to it. Created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. This Jack Kirby guy sounds like he's kind of influential, right?
I never heard of him.
Speaking of influential, Brooks, what did you think about Captain America: The First Avenger?
I liked it. Well, I've always kind of liked the character of Captain America. Maybe not so much as other characters, but he's always kind of held a special place. Just being an American. He's kind of like Superman, truth, justice, and the American way. But Captain America is more so because, he actually has America in his name.
Yes, absolutely.
But I really liked how in this movie they made the serum itself was, it amplifies what's best or worst in whoever takes it.
Yeah.
So like when Erskine is looking for subjects and he sees, Steve, he sees something in him that these other soldiers don't have. Tommy Lee Jones is like, oh, this guy right here, he's strong, he's fast, he's a soldier. And Erskine's like, he's a bully too. And so the serum would have if he had given it to the guy that Tommy Lee Jones wanted, he probably wouldn't have been as good as Steve Rogers, because Steve Rogers had the real goodness in him, not just the superficial soldier goodness that Tommy Lee Jones's character.
True courage.
Chris Evans does a great job of capturing that goodness that is inherent in the character of Steve Rogers. Tommy Lee Jones, perfect at the Colonel. That whole training scene, great
when
stuff.
He throws the grenade out.
Yes, when he throws the grenade.
And he jumps on it. Yeah.
That's a brilliant moment to completely show the audience what type of dude Steve is, right? And Stanley Tucci plays Erskine in this movie in a brilliant performance. Much like Idris Elba in Thor takes a little tiny role and just makes mountains out of it. Does something huge with it. Really love that scene when they're talking.
A drink.
Yeah, he's like, oh, no,
you can't drink before surgery.
Yeah.
I love it. I think he's great in the movie. Tommy Lee Jones, of course, is great in the movie. I love it. It's so fun. It's filled with adventure, filled with heart. Bucky is really good in it. You get a little bit of Bucky that sets up Winter Soldier. That's really awesome. The Howling Commandos are in here. You got Derek Luke, Neil McDonough playing Dum Dum. You got all of them in there from the Nick Fury and the Howling Commando. Great stuff, fun stuff, super, super cool. Let's talk about the opening, though, because, of course, originally Steve Rogers is a scrawny little kid. He's asthmatic. He wants to fight for his country in World War II, but, of course, he can't be approved to join the military. Erskine notices that there's something, though, about him. He would be probably the best person to do it if he only physically could. So what do you think about this? Because instead of just casting, like, a scrawnier dude and then having... They got a scrawny dude, and then they put Chris Evans' head on top of it, a la Benjamin Button, in a way. What do you think about the way it looked? Did they pull it off?
In parts it does. In parts it looks really, really good. Like, when he's fully clothed, or he's got clothes on... He's scrawny, and you can pull it off a little bit. Like, the head doesn't float away from the body too much. Then, like, you take your shirt off, and you start seeing the definition and things like that, and you start to notice it a little more. But, I think it's fine. I mean, there's seamless moments in it. So, I mean, I have no real problems with it.
And he looks a little big-headed to me.
Yeah.
A little bit like a bobblehead, but of course in the comic books, that's how it's drawn. Like, he's drawn, like, with this just... super skinny body that is just it's like Christian Bale in the Machinist. Like really it's crazy, like super thin, very weak and sickly looking. So it does stick out a little bit to me, and I think over time it looks a little bit worse. At the time, it looked brilliant. We were all like, I can't believe they actually pulled that off. But you're right. It's when they take the shirt off.
Yeah.
And it just starts looking a little too. I don't know. What'd you think about it though?
I didn't see any problem with it, but you know, I'm not a CGI critic really.
Yeah.
You know, I believe it.
That's why Reboot is his favorite animated series.
I did like Reboot a lot.
It's good.
I tend to, you know, not look too closely at things like that, and like just, you know, it doesn't. A lot of things that bother a lot of more people about CGI, they don't really bother me that much.
Yeah. I think Chris Evans was amazing in this movie, physically capturing the role, emotionally capturing the role, and spiritually capturing the role. What did you think about Chris Evans in the film? Did he do a good job?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah.
And you know, I was kind of skeptical myself because, you know, I'd seen Fantastic Four movies. I'm like, really? That guy's going to be Captain America? But, you know, once the movie started and I saw it, I was like, okay, that guy is Captain America now.
What'd you think about him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had no worries. Like, for some reason, Chris Evans just looks like Captain America. I was, I got mad at the beginning. I remember when they were casting him, I was like, it should have been Matt Damon. Matt Damon should have been Captain America. And, you know, now I think about it, I think he's probably too old to be that. Because, you know, I saw the Bourne movies. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's perfect for Captain America. You know, and then they picked Chris Evans. I was like, at first, I was like, it doesn't matter to me. You know, as long as they make a good movie. And they did.
Yeah.
And they picked a great character. They chose Chris Evans. And what we're going to do, make another Fantastic Four movie with him in it? No. So... I mean, yeah, retool him, make him work.
Are making Fantastic Four 3?
Yeah, it's still in development. Anyway, I think it's crazy. The guy who did a really good job playing Johnny Storm, one of the best parts of Fantastic Four movies.
Michael on such different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes, this shows his range. Yeah. Absolutely, right there. I love the look of 1940s Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think they did a great job of using the CG, of course, but making old New York there and making it come alive, making the front lines of World War II come alive.
Right.
Everything, just loved it, the way the movie looked, the production design. Red Skull's dope-ass car.
Like, oh, yeah, that car was sweet.
Yeah, of course they downplayed the Nazis in this film, and they really boost up the Hydra thing. Red Skull wasn't really Hydra originally in the comics, so they he is now, and this and that, but whatever. I like that they bring up Hydra. It sets up some stuff to come, of course. That's really cool. Let's talk about Red Skull, though. Let's talk about the villain. Hugo Weaving is nerd movie, like, gold. He's done so many popular nerd movies and done great roles in Elrond, in Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit, right? Wasn't he in The Hobbit film as well?
Yes, he was.
Absolutely. Agent Smith in The Matrix. Megatron, voice of Megatron, that first Transformers movie. I don't like that Transformers movie, but Megatron sounds cool.
It's the best.
V for Vendetta.
Yeah, he is.
Absolutely. So when they cast Hugo Weaving, I'm like, what? You can't go wrong. You got Hugo Weaving. I think they went wrong. I don't know what happened, but to me, and it's not Hugo Weaving, his dialogue is like, his accent is spot on. I like all that. I love the makeup. I think it looks great. I love that they got a little bit of him just in his normal face and then he pulls off the mask. I like that. I think that's cool. He looks great. The no nose thing, I think it works. I just feel like Red Skull's not really a threatening evil villain in this film. He's really just an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, that's how I feel about it. And even rewatching it, that's what I feel. I don't feel like he's that threatening. In fact, what does he actually do? Because he's got the Cosmic Cube, the Tesseract. And, of course, Red Skull in the comic books is always after that Cosmic Cube. So that's cool and that makes sense. But he's using it as just a power source. I thought that was a little like, you're just using it as a power source or whatever. Now, of course, we know this is the first appearance of the first Infinity Gem in these Marvel movies. It's actually the Space Gem that's in there. And that's why it opens up the portal. And they even explain in Avengers, it pulls energy from space. So they do set it up, and it does make sense. When I'm rewatching these films, originally I felt like they just kind of forced all this Infinity Stone stuff into it after the fact. But now I really see how it happens, because when he grabs that thing, a portal opens up and it sucks him out into space. So that's exactly what the Space Gem would do. But I think it was really weird how they disguised it as Cosmic Cube. But I think they just didn't want people to know what direction they were going until the end of Avengers when they finally show Thanos for the first time.
Spoilers.
So I like the Cosmic Cube. I think the cube itself looks great. Yeah. The way that they're just using it as a power source is a little odd. Like the best thing he can come up with is we're going to make weapons, but he's trying to overthrow Hitler. I love it when he's like, well, Hitler digs for trinkets in the desert, you know? And he's got real stuff going on. Of course, you got Toby Jones, right? Playing Zola in the film. Does a great job as Arnim Zola. You get a little bit of the comic book Zola in Winter Soldier. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You never get his head in the body or nothing like that.
You need the head in the body, though.
But you get the camera over the monitor, and that's pretty cool. But I feel like Red Skull was just a little bit weak to me in this film as the villain. What'd you think?
Yeah, he was kind of weak. Hugo Weaving is amazing. Is an amazing actor and does really well. I mean, he's competent in the film. So, I mean...
Yeah, I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the script's fault.
Yeah, he's not written well. And like I said before, I'm pretty sure there's a reason he's not coming back as Red Skull. But he was just a bland, like I said before, mustache-twirling villain. He was just there to be the opposition. Yeah. And just to be whatever. And it was just flat to me. But he looked great.
They don't even really have a great final fight either.
No, they don't.
Because he just grabs the cube and then gets sucked away, and then the movie goes into its final bit right there.
It's like they don't even need him.
Yeah, almost, right? Straight up. What'd you think about Red Skull in the movie, though?
Well, I thought he was all right, but he didn't really get as much time, you know, as a villain like the Red Skull needs to establish, you know, his motives and why he does the things he does. Because it was so much about Captain America, you know. They had to spend so much time building up, you know, Steve Rogers. And so a lot of the time they could have spent making Red Skull a better villain went to, you know, establishing Captain America as a better hero instead, which I think was actually a better idea. Yeah. Because, you know, this is Captain America's movie, you know.
It may have hindered the movie, too.
Yeah.
To have less of that Captain America stuff where they're building up who he is in his world.
Because the Red Skull does have a very kind of fascinating backstory himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of like a reverse Captain America. He's a patriot in his own way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that would have taken too much away from the main character, the hero, I think.
Okay. The supporting cast of this movie is brilliant. We've talked about Haley Atwell. She is glorious in this film. She had her own spin-off TV series for a while, Agent Carter, that I just loved. Dominic Cooper was in that as well. I loved Agent Carter, the TV series. Did you ever watch Agent Carter?
I never did. No.
Oh, man, it is so good, especially season 1. It's Madame Mask. Awesome. And all that stuff. It's really cool. I mean, I really like it. And Dominic Cooper's in it too. And Jarvis, like real Jarvis.
I saw bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
When it was first coming.
It was good. She does a brilliant performance. She has a brilliant performance. And I love, like we were talking last week about Thor, how they've almost felt like it forced the Jane and Thor romance. That does not feel forced in here. And they got that great little bickering at first. He's like, well, how do I know you're not off making fondue with Howard Stark?
And he's so, know what that means.
He's so,
I don't think you know what that means.
Fondue's just bread and cheese, my friend. Dominic Cooper is so good in this movie. Like we said before, it takes a small little bit and just makes something huge out of it. Just a brilliant performance. Had Robert Downey Jr. not played Tony Stark, Dominic Cooper would have been great. Yep. Of course, a lot of people know him now as Jesse Custer. He plays Jesse Custer in the Preacher TV series. Cooper is amazing in this film. Tommy Lee Jones is the Colonel. We were talking about the bit where he throws the grenade. That's a great part because after it happens, he looks over at Erskine, at Stanley Tucci's Erskine, and he goes, he's still skinny.
Yeah.
And that scene, oh my goodness, the scene when he goes, after they capture Zola, and he goes and he brings like the steak, and he's like, what is it? He's like, it's cat. You know, and he just starts eating it in front of him. He's like, all right, now I'm not going to let this go. You know how hard it is to get this? I loved him in that movie. Tommy Lee Jones, the way like the first Superman movie happened and they had Gene Hackman, and they had Marlon Brando. That's what Tommy Lee Jones is to this. That's what Anthony Hopkins was to Thor. It gives you it gives the weight in cinema. It gives it the respect, the automatic respect from the audience just having Tommy Lee Jones there in a brilliant role. Stanley Tucci, like we were talking about, does a great job in that role. Mm-hmm. Sebastian Stan's Bucky. What do you think about?
He's a good best friend, good sidekick. You know what's going to happen. You know, and it's set up really well for him to go out the way he goes out. And, he played it really well. I mean, I liked him and Chris Evans working together. So, there's not much to say about him in this film.
Yeah.
There's more to say about him later.
Yeah.
But, he does his job in this one.
Yeah, he doesn't have too big of a role. We see him a little bit at first
friend.
when he sticks up for Steve, who's his best friend, who's always getting beat up. And that's a great thing that they capture in the script so perfectly, is the character Captain America always gets beat down and always just gets right back up. Stand up. Never stay on the ground. We got to keep our chin up, keep moving forward. That's what he does. Because even when he becomes Cap and they're just parading him around, like a trained monkey or something like that to sell war bonds, right? And by the way, anybody who ever thinks that they should go straight up comic book costume for a movie, I think we have been proven in Captain America, no, because that is the comic book costume. Yeah. They had the shield at first, cool. When he finally goes off to save Bucky and them after they get captured.
He wears it, but he wears a uniform.
And he looks straight up like Cap from the Ultimates.
Yeah,
and he's got the mask on, he's got the jacket. It looks so great. And then he gets his other suit, right? So we're about to talk about the suit, but I asked you about, I've lost where we were talking about, who were we talking about? Who were we talking about? We're talking about Bucky. What do you think about Bucky?
I thought Bucky was done really well, and I liked the role reversal they did, where Bucky was the tough guy. He was the soldier, always bailing Steve out, and then Steve gets to the war, and Bucky needs his help, and he has to go and save Bucky, and Bucky sees him the first time, and is like, "What happened to you?" And I thought that I would have liked it if they'd had more time together. You know?
Yeah.
But it did kind of they had to get that tragedy over with.
They basically montage Captain America once he becomes Captain America. They montage his involvement in the war, and then lead you up to the moment where they go to the train, and that's when Bucky.
Yeah, I think Cap has the best theme music in this.
Yeah.
It's really who's strong and brave here to save the American way.
Yeah, he really did.
And I love how it explains how he becomes such. It helps him learn how to talk to the public, to the audience. It helps him develop that. He's already going to be. He's already going to be a leader and a strategic genius. But it really it gives him that enthusiasm and that charisma and the free flow to actually just talk and be assertive like that.
Right.
And I love in that scene when he finally gets to a real war, and all the colors gone. It's sad and it's dark. He's like, "Get out of here! Nice boots, you fairy," and all that stuff, right? So, but the moment when he goes and saves Bucky and the Howling Commandos, and then that whole I love that montage of them and their adventures, and the moves, the way Captain America moves and fights. We thought it was great what Blonsky did in the Incredible Hulk movie.
He killed
it. They killed it. They went above and beyond in this film. I thought it was great. What do you think about the costume? After the goofy costume, the real costume.
I liked it.
Okay.
I still like it.
Yeah.
He's Captain America the 40s.
Yeah.
And he looks that way. He's supposed to fight that way. They're not going to give him fatigues and just be hey, go out there and fight. No, Captain America needed to look like Captain America. And I think they pulled it off well.
Yeah.
I still like it. I still like the fact that he's got that shield and he does his moves.
Yeah.
And it looks seamless on his outfit. I have no problems with it.
Yeah, I love the shield. I love the way he throws it. It looks great. Everything he does when he jumps, when he goes into the tank and he throws the bomb down, it just jumps away from it. It all looks so cool and great. And it feels like a serialized thing from the 40s almost, that little bit right there.
It's you're watching a comic book on screen.
Yes, absolutely.
And it works out really well for him.
I think it looks practical. It looks like something he would wear, but obviously everybody knows and recognizes and respects that uniform now.
Yeah.
So he took it and made it a little bit more practical and realistic. He had the helmet. I love that helmet. Thought that was great. What do you think about the costume?
Well, it was Captain America.
Yeah.
And it did have the traditional military look. It had a lot of the pouches and the practical things that a soldier would need. But also Captain America is not your typical soldier, so he needs that extra symbolism.
Yeah.
And I thought it captured it pretty well. I thought it blended the two.
Yeah.
Really well. The superhero costume with the soldier together.
Absolutely. Another one of my favorite bits here, we were talking about Howard Stark in this movie, and when they finally get the cube, the Tesseract, and they're experimenting with it, and it causes that big ass explosion.
Yeah.
And Howard Stark's like, somebody write that down. He is so good in this movie. He really is. Absolutely. So that's basically what we're thinking about this movie. We seem to be liking it.
We like it.
We like this
I
movie.
like this movie.
Of course, the post-credit scene is because at the end of the film, obviously Captain America has to go down with a plane. He gets frozen. At the beginning of the film, of course, you see them find him.
Right.
They thaw him out, and he's the man out of time. He's now in the present day. And so the ending is, he ends there and he wakes up. That's a great scene. When he's like, I was at that game. And they got the room set up to look. Like, didn't they do that in the Ultimates?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they did.
And Fury even shows up.
Mostly of the Ultimates. Yeah, that's why I love this movie so much. The Ultimates, that comic book itself, was just basically the template for the Avengers we have on film now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the way they have it set up, I wish the Chitauri were in it, just to give you an idea that the aliens may have been here this whole time.
Yeah.
For that little bit of setup. But, I work well with Nazis. So it's good, and I like how he does wake up, and he knows it's wrong. He knows it's like immediately wrong, and
my Captain America sense is tingling.
Yeah, it just happens so fast. So I like that, and I like that he's now in our time, and he needs to be here.
Yeah,
like it's supposed to. It's kind of a need for him to be here. Like, the 40s don't need you anymore. You basically saved the world.
Yeah. Now, in the comic books,
I like it.
Captain America gets lost because it's Zola. Zola launches a missile. Him and Bucky get on it. That's where Bucky. That's where Bucky falls off. But they change it to the train here.
Right.
Captain America then the missile he makes the missile blow up before it reaches its target, and he lands in the ocean and freezes, and he becomes a capsicle, and so. They change a little bit. He's in that big bomber.
Yeah.
I think they could have easily had one of them things go off and him jump into it and grab it. And they did, because they were little planes. Remember, he jumped off. And think about when he first wakes up after Erskine gets shot and he first becomes Cap, right? Like, we're talking about early in the film now. And he's chasing that Hydra agent down.
Oh, that was awesome.
That Hydra agent's got to be like, what is up with this guy? Like, I finally got away.
He's like, he doesn't even realize, like, how am I running so fast?
Yeah. That's a
He's
great
like, I'm not
scene.
tired. He's not even getting winded or anything.
Yeah, and it's a parallel in the scene when he wakes up in the current day, and he breaks out because they're playing an old school Brooklyn Dodgers game that he was at, so he knows that something's up. He breaks out, and it's like modern day, and a perfect way to end the film with him just saying, I had a date. And his discussion he had
so awesome.
with Haley Atwell.
Yeah.
With Peggy as he's going down, and he knows he's going to go down, and they're talking about their date and how they're going to go next week. Oh, don't worry, we're going to be, and then he just cuts out. It's heartbreaking.
It's sad.
It is so heartbreaking. It's such a better job at the scene that was at the end of Armageddon between Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler. Anyway, what do you think about the ending of the film? And, him going down with the ship as opposed to him jumping on a missile.
Well, I mean, that's just so Cap,
Yeah.
Like, they established throughout the movie that he's the kind of guy who will put his life on the line to save other people no matter what. Like,
he will jump on a grenade.
Yep. He will lay down on the wire to let somebody else crawl over. If he thinks he can save somebody, he'll do it no matter what. And I think that the end of this movie really drove that point home.
Yeah.
It was like he knows he's not coming back, but he's not gonna cry about it. He's not gonna be angsty. He's like he's
gonna do what's right because that's what you're supposed to do. Absolutely. And of course, the post-credit scene in this one was him on the punching bag, which was basically the trailer for Avengers, which at the time blew my little brain wide open. Recollections from that?
Man, everything about it, man. Just the way we're setting up, the way they've set up the rest of these movies, or the way that these movies were building up to the Avengers. I was prepared, but I had no clue what they were going to do until they just pretty much showed us in 3 separate films or 4 actually, how they were going to create this universe. And the ending credits for this, no different. You start it, and then it shows the trailer for the Avengers, and you're basically getting all the pieces put together for this big event and I loved every minute of it. What else can I say? Man, make my Marvel.
When I rewatched it a couple of days ago, and I watched the post-credit trailer, I was taken aback at how little they actually show.
They don't show you that
of
much.
The Avengers thing, but like it just, I remember watching it over like just stop, start. What'd you think about it, man? At the time, like how did it feel to see that trailer at the end of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, Avengers was the thing that we were all looking forward to.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all these great movies that we've been seeing were leading up to an even greater movie with like all these characters in them. And you know, it was very exciting, and it still kind of has that excitement even when you rewatch them now.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed rewatching all of these, like, you know, in order.
Yeah.
Because you kind of recapture the excitement you had, like all at once.
Yeah, and sometimes you see things differently. Like I had a lower opinion of Captain America because I thought it had some pacing issues in the early days when I was first watching it. But like rewatching it, it holds up so well. It's such a fun movie. I think it's really good. I think it's as good as anything. And we will be talking about this in the next few weeks. But I think Captain America's probably got the strongest series out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
Very true.
That may be different if there's when there's one more Galaxy Guardians movie. We shall see. But all three Cap movies are good.
Yeah.
And are really good. And
Pretty solid.
they just keep kind of getting better in a way. Really good stuff. So, Jelani, we got a ranking system here. You know that. You digs. Possible 5 you digs. That's the best you can get is 5 you digs. How many you digs do you give Captain America the First Avenger?
I'm going to say that this gets my 4.5 you digs.
4.5 you digs.
I
That's
love this
high.
movie.
You like it more than Iron Man?
Yeah, I like it more than Iron Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It builds up to the Avengers, and it is the first Avenger, and it's Captain America, which, as a kid, I loved Captain America. I was sad to find out that Captain America wasn't a part of the original Avengers.
Yeah. He shows up in, what, issue 5?
Yeah. So you're not, you know, I was like, wait a minute, Captain America didn't. Yeah, that was actually a problem for me when I was a kid. But now
those 4 issues without Captain America ruined me.
Ruined.
Well, the Hulk was an Avenger for what, like 3 years?
He left in issue 2.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was good. It's a solid film. It's better than Iron Man for me. And I love Iron Man. So I give
4.5.
4.5.
Nice. And of course, at least the Avengers were the ones that found the capsicle, and so that's Shield right. Finding it. That works. It's fine.
Works.
It's just like
Namor had a hand.
Yeah, Namor. Yeah, it was Namor. Yeah. Namor.
Yeah, he threw something. And it ended up, I think he actually picked up like a chunk of ice out of the ocean and threw it at the Avengers, and it ended up being Cap or something.
So crazy.
Something, you know, comic book.
I hate it when they change things from the comic books. Why can't they do that?
Why do they do that?
How many you digs do you give this movie?
I give it a fantastic 4.
4 you digs. You equal at the ranking with Iron Man for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Why 4? Why so high?
Well, there's just not a whole lot wrong with it, and I just love the character so much, you know.
Yeah.
I love him. Like, I don't like him as much as Thor, but I mean, he's worthy to stand beside heroes like Iron Man and Thor.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, it seems like his powers are less, he actually, when you really think about Captain America's place in the Avengers, it's like he's a top tier hero.
Yeah. And they do a great job of showing that in this movie. I'm going to give it 3.5 you digs.
Oh.
I do like this film. I think it's got a very, very weak villain with a very thin villainous plot. That's what I think hinders it just a little bit. This movie is fun. A brilliant performance by Chris Evans and the supporting cast. Jones, Cooper, Atwell, Tucci. It's just not Tucci. It's just like to say that. So I did 3.5. You did 4. You did 4.5. That makes the average 4. 4 you digs.
Yeah.
Average. How many you digs do you give Captain America the First Avenger? Let us know in the comments down below. And let us know anything you thought about what we said or what we didn't say. We want to thank you guys so much for checking out the video. And don't forget, be back here next Monday. We'll be talking about The Avengers, starring Sean Connery, Uma Thurman, and, oh, no, never mind. Talking about The Avengers, starring Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, so many more. Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, Samuel L. Jackson, and Phil Clark Gregson. Coulson, Clark Gregg, something like that, and Coulson.
Wow.
Coulson's in it as well.
A
whole bunch of other people, including Tom Hiddleston. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We do this every single week. Don't forget about the weekly comic book review, and don't forget about our podcast. All that and more can be found at popculturephilosophers.com. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. This has been
Jelani, Bullard.
And this is
Brooks.
And you dig?
You dig.
You think that Cap song is better than when Captain America throws his mighty shield?
I kind of do, actually.
I love that song. Yeah.
It just sounds like it came out of the 40s, too.
Who would have thought they could have put a musical number in a Marvel movie?
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
and make it work. Yeah, that's a great film.